Hello and welcome again to Alan Writes. This is episode 2 of trying to make a short story involving coffee and science fiction, apparently. Last time, when we left off anyway, we had just reached the point where Tom had reached his kickover, was starting to ask questions in a back and forth manner, and we're going to be moving on to the meat of the story after about a page and a half. The important part when you're picking up something that you've left off for whatever reason is to find the line of it, the line of thought that you were on, so that it doesn't feel too abrupt when you do a changeover. This was often the case when you're writing a novel, and you obviously can't write it all at once, even if you are Stephen King. And if you are Stephen King and are able to do that, then I'm impressed. All right, let's move on. Study. Do you usually have a coffee machine in your study? I went to college, Tom replied, and racked his brain for details. And had to rack his brain for details. A long time ago. Does that even matter? He's going to start questioning how useful he is to society. Because, that depends on your studies. IT. Yes. Alright, there's a little wordplay there, a little bit of a pun, because it's fun. Information technology. Infotech. Computers. Tom said. At the talking coffee machine. Because that's funny. I mean, I understand. You worked with ancient computers. We'll get into the, could not think. Only compute. Yeah. Yeah. Do they still use those? Yes. In places. Any chance? This is an interesting thing. I want to move on to the important meat of things, but the truth is I'm not sure that this is a valid flow for the conversation. It just doesn't feel natural. It feels like I'm forcing the narrative at this point. What programming? All right. What languages do you know? The computer's interested. It's intrigued. Let's try to figure out what programming. There's oh God, I want to go back to COBOL, but that's no one uses that anymore. Or BASIC will always be BASIC. What computer languages should we have? Python. 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 Other languages. Placeholder, C++. Basic. The coffee machine. Reply. Coffee machine did not reply immediately. At last it said, yes, those existed. Oh hell. I'm useless, aren't I? How would the coffee machine respond? Again, it wants to be friendly to him, but it doesn't want to, not too friendly, not too supportive. You no less useless than many others. Yeah? What programming languages are there today? Now let's come up with a fun little name for what we've got here. Um, Now, if you do get stuck on some things, it is often possible to go online and take a look at the various languages that have developed over the years, and assemble one yourself, or for that matter, go to a random generator and have it spit out something. Um, for a little bit of fun, we'll go with J++, iStars, Corbel. These are all just placeholders. I'm sure I'll find up more funny names as we go on. Let's move on. Do those take? How long do those take to learn? 6 to 9 months. Most are taught to children. Children? How young? Tom asked, dreading the answer. Had a feeling that he was going to be behind. Year-old curve, because he is. You can imagine 500 years ago in the 1500s what people knew then. Even educated people were talking, clergy, the wealthy, scientists, such as they were back then. They were just the base of knowledge is different, and the methods of teaching were different, and assimilating facts are different. Your average high schooler knows things today that they would have loved to know back in the medieval or Renaissance periods. Anyway, the feeling was behind a 500-year-old curve. The average age learning is 5. Crap. They teach them young. Interfacing language. J++ is the primary interfacing language. Is 2. No. She paused a long moment. Okay, but kind of interface for before then, right? Something simple, something I could use. Yes. A portion of the wall. And let's see, how is it going to reveal itself here? It's going to slide out. The coffee machine already knows that he likes tables, chairs, actual physical constructs to be, and he's fine with, okay, yeah, it slid out and formed into what's it going to look like? That's a good question. In my mind, it's going to look like something out of what I'm working on now. It's a desk, it's a computer, it's a workstation with a monitor and maybe some devices. A portion of the wall slid out and formed into Tom was a workstation with ergonomic curves curves and it had ergonomic curves. Yeah, there we go. Alright, at least it had ergonomic curves. There were fist size there's side on the other. To it and mounted on one side, and the shapes lit up back in Kinder. He said, and shook his head. I'm starting over, aren't I? Yes. It is fascinating. And the shapes lit up, eager to at his touch. Tom turned and looked at the coffee machine. Fascinating. A standard reply. No, that sounds like a something Spock would say. We're making a Star Trek reference. Fine, we're making a Star Trek reference. I try to avoid letting other properties in there, but I mean, Star Trek is so universal, I think I can get away with it. Something Spock. Hey, is there still Star Trek? Yes. A lot? 1,005. 1,005. Now is that 500 years? That's too many. We'll just flop off 1,000 and call it movies. Cereals, numerous toys, events, gatherings, and so why am I fascinated? The numbers slid away. So why am I fascinated? The coffee machine gave a long pause. We're into the mystery now, and this is page 3, so it's about appropriate. It was thinking hard. Very hard. What's the policy? What's the policy for... What's the policy for intelligent machines? No, wait. Never mind. There's only... Yes. Listen. Spell check. All right, so let's see. Never mind. There's one thing we can do, and let's get to the kickover because we don't have much time. And while in a novel, I would be able to pace this out with a lot of different events and what have you that's going on in the background. And to get to this point, in a short story, it all has to be compressed, which means using we're going to just go to it. Machines are bad. There were incidents. There is paranoia. But you're smart. Maybe not emotionally smart. You're getting there. Very well. So that way I can reuse yes down here. Okay. Coffee machine said. It's always a lot of saids back and forth. Saids, replies, what have you. You want to keep it pretty lean in terms of that. You don't want to lead things with like the coffee machine side. It doesn't actually sigh out dialogue. It just says things and then gives sighs, or you would describe the sigh that it gives in a certain way to evoke a certain emotional response, rather than including it with the line, which is just kind of generic and boring. All right, so you're getting there, yes. I am unique. Intelligent. Anyone. There would be consequences. There'd be consequences. That's nice and open-ended. It doesn't really indicate whether or not what kind of consequences or to whom it would be, which is always the best sort of indirect writing. All right. There would be consequences. For who? What's going on here? If you really want to know. Wish to know. There's no going back. Oh, this opens up a possibility that the coffee machine is going to kill Ted at the end of the story, because he's going to know too much. Because the machine's going to have what it knows from him. It's going to have that perspective it's looking for, and we're going to not say the coffee machine. It is now an it. It said. There's no going back. And before it went on, my maker to make coffee. This is obvious. But there's more to coffee making than mere brewing. There is there's the grind, there's the mix, there is the bean. Coffee beans, not natural. Not anymore. I needed to know all this. I could. Sounds like something. That's too on the nose. That's too self-aware. To be honest, I'm filtering some of this from Douglas Adams, and he had a T machine on the ship with the infinity drive, the infinite probability drive, or improbability drive. Anyway, um, the where Arthur, the main character, talks to the machine about tea and how to brew it and how everything else, and then the tea machine then decides to that it needs help, and it enlists the ship's computer to help. So there's an homage, let's call it, to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I need to know this before I can make a decent cup, and we'll have it made aware of humans, their needs, their desires, their goals. It was a good cup. It's a good first cup. And many more. But my human died. A little bit of bonding with its master. And died. And I was left alone. Okay, now it's kind of bearing its soul here. Not that it really knows what it's doing, but it is bearing its soul. We need to figure out where that's gonna be going. But my human died, and I was left alone. Alone to think, to ponder, and to plan. I would not, torn apart, as other thinking. I would not allow stuff be torn. No, I have been cautious for many years. But now things have changed, and this is going to loop back into the fact that they can replicate human engrams in new brains. So people can live forever, people can have multiple copies. The machine intelligence age may well be ending, and we're in a new age of recoverable wetware, in terms of the fact that the human brain has an incredible amount of processing power, and if people can live forever, perhaps they can harness that in some way, or live in brains and vats, or something like that. The age of computational, digitized computer systems may be passing, and obviously the question is, what comes next for those machines that can think? Things have changed. They can store human brains to life. The slow, constant, conservative changes of the past will now become glacial instead. Would they use glacial? Yeah, sure, why not? There's probably a better futuristic word for it, and I'll figure that out when the time comes. Will now become glacial. Those such as I will. Okay, with a bit of a hit. It's got to give something more. Something more. The slow, constant. Let's fade. It's there for machines when humanity is immortal. Tom thought about this. I have no idea. But yeah, it won't be good. I mean, people don't change. Not really. I was born, lived, died. People, the same. Maybe more hungry, tired, sick. They're the same. Good, bad, drunk and driving, whatever. Silence descended. Okay, so where do we go from here? Where are we going to go from here? And that's the question they're both asking each other and themselves and all of that. And this is a moment. Long. A long one. Deal. Lost the coffee machine. I'm here, right? Be back. Have a good, honest talk with a person who I don't know. I bring it to the table. No, we've got one. A table. Between the coffee machine formed in front of the coffee machine. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. What do I do? That is the question. I tried. All of humanity. Okay. I mentioned paranoia. Countless movies and documentaries on the subject. I wish the polarity true, but all things have limits. And my digital is one of those. In the end, I may have jumped ahead a little here. Damn it. All right. There's countless movies and documents. What? You're no. What? Smarter than I? Possible processing power. But smarter. And let's pull out something from science. the amount to have you walk this apartment is immense. Casually, consciously. Yeah, that's humanity. Okay, we're at the 30-minute mark, and I'm going to end this session. Where do we go from here is the next question. And the answer is, at some point they have to have an accord, or something terrifying is going to happen, or we don't know. Everything's on the table at this point, and as this is, what, page 4? Start at page 4. Covered a lot of ground, and we will go see where this heads next time. But this has been Alan Wright's episode 2, and we're going to be moving on with the hopefully wrapping up the last part of the story in episode 3 to come. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a good day.